If you have not been using Canva and you want to start using it, or maybe you're just a little frustrated with it and you just don't get it, keep on watching. I'm gonna make this super simple for you coming right up. What's up guys, my name's Ambrosia Carey. I am a salon owner and a marketing strategy expert in the beauty industry. I am bringing to you a combination of pro hairstyling tips and marketing tips. Make sure you click that like and subscribe button and hit that bell so that you can get notifications every Wednesday, every time we drop a video. So today we're going into Canva 101 and I'm going to take the overwhelm out for you hopefully in this video. I am going to make this as fair as possible, so I'm not going to be using my pro account. I'm going to be using a brand new account that is absolutely free. If you don't already use Canva, I highly suggest that you get started on your laptop. I definitely prefer to use my laptop over my phone, but you can certainly download the app on your phone when you're on the go and you need to make tweaks and changes. For now though, I'm gonna walk you through how you can at least get started and take the overwhelm out just a little bit. So let's get started. Okay, so like I said, I've got a free account here and there's a list off to your left of projects, templates shared with you, which you can make your own, and you can actually get started with the brand kit. The brand kit does cost money. It is with the pro account. If you can see the crown is for the pro account. But as you can see here, there are some colors that you can put in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my brand kit and I'm gonna pull the colors directly off of that. Now, in order to do this, you will need to search through some of the tones. Maybe you already have colors that you like, and that is where you can actually find the code for those colors. So I'm gonna open up my brand kit, and I'm gonna go ahead and enter those numbers in. I'm choosing colors that are more specific, that are gonna be harder for me to find, and I'm just gonna stick with those. As you can see, you have to pay to put more than 3, so you can start out with the 3 tones for now, and then if you wanna get more into it and actually start paying for the pro account, then you can go all out and you can put as many branded colors as you want to make it as easy as possible. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get started. I'm gonna push on the home button and I am gonna get started with, I'm gonna type in Instagram Reels, and specifically I wanna make sure I'm creating an Instagram Reel video. So I'm gonna pretend that I don't like to be on camera. Most of us don't. So for those of you who don't like to be on camera, no worries, no judging. I totally get it. And maybe you don't even have time. And so maybe in the privacy of your own home, or maybe you just have like one designated day off where you actually literally pour into creating these ahead of time. Totally worth it. So what I would say is to set up with Instagram Reels first. It's a video, so you can actually take and extract your own video if you wanted to, or you can add graphics, therefore making it a video, and you can even add animation to it. So I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. One of the things I want to show you guys is that you can actually go here to your filters and you can choose a color, or you can even enter in one of the colors that you wanted to. The cool part about it is that once you push apply, so I'm going to go ahead and type in one of my other tones here. I'll say apply, and then I'll say apply filters to that. You'll see that off to the corner. It actually gives me, it spits out some things that fit that color scheme, or at least have some of that tone or something close to that tone aligned. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pick on a graphic that already has a couple of compilated pieces in there. So you can see that there's a collection of 4 different graphics. I'm gonna go ahead and pick that, but I'm going to create and use my own. Now, I want to create something for my Successful Stylist Academy page, and this is a little bit brighter, more playful. It definitely has like a little bit more movement with the graphics. Almost kind of has like a 90s theme going on, like a little bit of a Y2K, lots of color, bright pop art, that sort of thing. So I'm going to go in with that same theme. The downside is that some of these graphics that are already created for you, they do have pro options to it, and you're not going to be able to use them without paying for them. So just make sure that when you're choosing graphics, when you're choosing designs, and when you're choosing photos that are already like available to you inside of Canva, make sure that you're choosing the free ones. Okay, so now I'm going to change out the graphics that you're seeing. I liked what it showed me, but I want to make it my own. So I'm going to go in with my 5 R's of salon business. So I am going to individually type out. This is going to be a little bit more time consuming. I'm going to speed this up for you so it doesn't bore you. I don't want to take up your time. But I want to actually create graphics that are going to give it that same pop art feel that I was just talking about. And I want to say what I need it to say. And so in this situation, unfortunately, they are individual GIFs that I have to select from Canva. So I have to individually type in the S, the A, the L, the O to the N. So anyway, I got salon in there, and then I'm gonna add in the business side. So one of the hacks that I wanna show you guys, once I get all of these little GIFs arranged, they're kind of out of control and they're not quite centered to the page. So if I actually highlight each one of them and push down on the shift button, if I select all of them and I say group, I can group them together and then I can shift them over. You can see as you shift it, you'll see a bar in the center that tells me, okay, it's now centered. Same thing here, I'm gonna take these little diamonds off to the side and I'm gonna quickly actually make the diamonds one of the tones that fit the brand. So I can actually click up here and I can shift the colors to fit the brand. So you can see this is a double color here. So you will have to click both of them if you want the same tone. Otherwise, it kind of gives it a gradation or it changes the tone a little bit. All right, now we're gonna go to the background. So I'm gonna go all with stock because I don't have any uploaded full photos. Because like I mentioned, this is a brand new Canva account and I created this just to show you this video. So as you can see, if I'm looking through here, the videos, they're all like Canva, you have to pay for them, they're all the pro. So I'm gonna go into some of the free photos. If you can see the trending, sometimes the trending is gonna give you some things that might work out really well. So I'm gonna go in to some of the trending images here and I'm just gonna pick something that fits like the same playful attitude. Maybe I find something within the salon space, like this image for instance, this is a salon or a nail spa or something, but it looks like a salon. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that behind it. You can see now that the fonts don't stand out quite as much because the background is so light. So I'm gonna adjust the fonts now to black. I'm gonna shift everything up and remember what I was saying, lump them together by pushing that shift button first before you bring them all up together. And once I get that all centered and I'm feeling good about it, then I can move on to my next photo. One last thing that I've decided I'm gonna do through this is I am actually adding a background to these fonts because, again, the background is a little too distracting and I want the fonts to really stand out. What's important to me is that if somebody is scrolling through and the font is small or it blends in too much with the background, they're gonna miss it and they're gonna lose interest. It's not gonna catch them enough. So when it comes to these bright bubblegum pop playful fonts, I really want to make sure that they stand out. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the background side, click on background, I'm going to change the color and I can actually square out the edges. I can go round or square and I feel pretty good about that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on shift. I'm going to click on, you can see these 3 little bubbles off to the side. And now I can actually add animation to it. So I'm gonna select an animation. I am gonna shorten my frame down and then I'm gonna move into my next frame. So remember the templates, just click on templates, select your next template, and now you can start customizing. So I'm gonna type in from my blog post, I'm gonna type in number 1. I'm gonna go in with one of my fonts that I typically use, which is Cooper Hewitt Heavy. And I wanna make that larger. So you can either actually type in the font size that you want, or you can click the plus button. I choose to just type it in because it's faster that way. Now, the very first tip is increase retention. So I'm typing that in and I'm going to, again, make it the correct font size. I don't care for the bar in the background, so I'm gonna erase that and I'm gonna go find my own bar. So I'm gonna actually type in bar in the search under elements and I'm gonna find one that fits something closely enough to you know, I'm always thinking of the brand. I'm always thinking of Successful Stylist Academy. What would show up here? What would my audience expect to see from us? And so I'm going in with bright tones, colorful tones, things that actually stand out. So that's what I'm going with. And then now it comes down to changing up the image in the background. I want the image in the background, again, to mimic something that is playful, inviting, community-based, and obviously geared toward the profession. So sometimes I have to mess around a little bit when I'm typing in the search engine and I'm looking through the stock photos to see something that's going to actually fit the brand. Sometimes I end up changing it as I'm going. I find it really important, like as you're building this and you start to get the aesthetic down, it makes it easier to repeat. So during this process, I like to find images that inspire me as I'm telling the story or the journey of this actual piece. Okay, so now I found something that I feel like this fits. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to my next one. I'm gonna push the plus button, select the next template, and I'm just gonna move forward in the same fashion. So as you see, I selected the template. I'm now going for number 2. I'm adjusting it to the Cooper Hewitt. I'm doing the same things over again. I'm gonna change out the bar. Maybe I decide as I'm doing it, I want the bar to be more consistent, so I might select a bar that actually is just gonna be consistent throughout the whole story. And I'm gonna speed this way up so that way I don't bore you to tears as we're doing this, but there is something else that I wanna show you as I'm creating this entire story. One of the big things I do once I start to like curate a story and I'm fitting a theme is I wanna make sure that I'm taking the hard work out for myself. So you can see that I did a lot with like transitions and making sure that the fonts were right, making sure that the backgrounds were good, making sure the colors were on point. And since I did all that work, now all I have to do is go on repeat. So as I click here, if I go to the main story, I click on the actual graphic on the bottom, and you can see this little icon to the right hand side that has a plus button. If you click on that, it actually duplicates it. So when you duplicate it, then all you have to do is change the information that are on the graphics. You no longer have to create a whole new graphic in itself. And this is what I'm meaning by like putting the work in the very beginning, and once you get it the way you want to see it, then you just do that on repeat, and you can have each slide have a theme going. This works really well when you're building carousels or when you're creating something like this where I want to put it up as a reel. So what's nice about creating a reel this way is that I don't have to physically record anything. I don't have to worry about like pre-recording ahead of time and then editing that recording and then obviously making a reel out of it. So this does save you on time. The other thing I like about this is I can repurpose this in other places. So it might not make sense for me to use a full video for Pinterest when I'm making a reel, but how cool would it be though if I can actually take this whole graphic and use it on Pinterest as well and actually have it work for me there. So this is something I can totally repurpose in other places. So this is just a nice little example. Again, I'm searching for different images, stock images, because I didn't actually upload any. Typically, I would want to use some of our own. I would have like photos from some photo shoots that we've done or some video footage. But in this situation, just because this is for example, I want to show you guys kind of how I've done that. As far as material goes, you can totally take it from like Pinterest if you get inspired by something, if you take screenshots of things that you really like. And in this situation, I'm obviously taking a blog post, so I'm grabbing the information from that blog post. I'm gonna put more details inside of this, and then I'm actually gonna write out more in the caption. So I wanna write a call to action. So this is the outro part of my reel story. So I'm finishing this piece out by clicking on text, and then I can actually choose which text I want. I can add my own style to it if I wanted to, like a shadow. And if I want to offset it, I click on offset. I can actually change the colors if I wanted to. Now the color of the font is going to be different than the color of the background when you're choosing this kind of graphic or when you're choosing this kind of effect. So make sure that you look at that as well. And then once I start to feel more comfortable with that, I'm gonna select a background for that end piece as well. So as you can see, I have a call to action, which is read the caption for more. I'm gonna put more information inside of the caption. And then my call to action inside of Instagram will be click my bio, and you could read the full video if you would like. Whatever that may be, if it links back to something, right? Like in my situation, I'm creating this YouTube video. Once I actually create the graphics for this, I can tell people want to know how I made these graphics, click on the bio and watch my full video to see how I did it. So this is an example of how you can really create things and curate stuff that's going to fit your brand, gonna fit your needs, but you can also create a call to action by doing so as well. So let's say you're doing this for a client and you want to give her tips on keeping your ends from frizzing out, or tips on getting maximum volume, tips on holding a longer curl. So this is something that you can totally do by creating with your own graphics, and you can use that as an Instagram reel, and then you can repurpose that on Pinterest, and you can have the traffic all flowing back to your website where you have a longer form typed out. That longer form typed out can be just sitting on your website. So you can have 3 places that you have these living. Your longer form is going to be on your website. You want to always send traffic back to your website. Your Canva graphics are gonna go onto your various social media platforms, and they're all gonna have little bits of information plugged in from your one big main thing, and always driving traffic back to the main thing over again, and just putting that on repeat. If you started doing this once a week or even twice a month for your clients or for your ideal, like let's say you wanna educate more for a brand, all of this stuff has to do with the same thing. I want to show you one last thing before we wrap up. So there are 2 ways that you can put more information on a graphic. It's kind of the rule of 3s. It's kind of, I think it's like that in photography as well. One way you can do this is you can create your font, and then you can choose which style you want for your font, and you can kind of do that background like I was showing you before. Another way is you can choose an element, and you can actually click on one of the boxes, and I just typed in square, and you just add the square in, you can change the color of the square, and then you can add your font on top of it. That keeps it just a little bit cleaner, and if I were to do that, you can see that I shrink the font down a little bit so that there's still borders around the font, and again, it doesn't consume too much of the box. So I would do that on repeat. That way it's almost done as if it's a visual carousel without having for anybody to click through it. Now the next step though, this is the cool part. This is the reason why I love Canva so much, because as you can see, if I click on download here, I can either save it as an MP4 file, or I can save it as a PNG. If I save it as an MP4, it actually will save all the graphics. So remember all the animation that we added on to the physical font? Whenever you add animation onto the font, that's where the 3 little bubbles are, then that is going to show up in that MP4 file. When you download as an MP4 file, it saves all the graphics together as one long video. But if you save it as a PNG file, which means that it's just the image that you see physically, it will save them individually. So then you can create a carousel out of it. You can create pin ideas like I showed you guys in a video 2 weeks ago. If you didn't see that video, by the way, click up here and it'll take you straight there. But I do want to give you guys options, because Canva is one of those things that it can be overwhelming if you try to do all of it all at once. So my suggestion to you is focus on what your objective is. If you want to create something for your stories and you want a call to action on there, just create an amazing call to action and that's it. Don't try to overwhelm yourself by putting too many things in there, and play around a little bit and see what feels right. If you don't already have a brand kit, or if you haven't worked out what your brand is, it's going to be more and more difficult for you to create the graphics that you want because you don't know what you're creating it for. So if that feels like something that you need to work more on, or if you need more step-by-step one-on-one Canva options and you really want to simplify things as much as possible, then my suggestion is to actually enroll in the Social Marketing Mastery program. I will have it linked in the show notes for you guys. But Social Marketing Mastery just breaks down how, when, and why you would be using specific tools. I do go a little bit into Canva and I create some things from very scratch without using any templates. So that way you can see just how easy it can be. Now you'll probably see how like my graphics get better in time because I get to know my audience and my brand better. And that's the beauty of it, is that a brand is not a stamp in time. A brand is a culture that you believe in, and it's rooted to the people that you associate with. So if you think of your like top 5 people that you hang out with, or if you think about your clientele, the people that you really love the most, even some of your really good friends, think about the salon that you're in, the people that you're attracted to, that is all an extension of you, AKA your brand. So when you're thinking of those things, that is gonna make it easier for you to create graphics that surround it. I'll definitely be doing more of these videos. If any of this stuff was overwhelming, don't get frustrated. I promise I'm gonna break more down with Canva, and I would love to hear your suggestions in the comments below. So hopefully this video helped you out, or at least got some things stirring in your head that you can start trying out. If you do create something, please tag me on Instagram at Ambrosia Carey. I really want to see it and I don't want to miss that. Also, make sure you comment below if you have any other questions, suggestions, or things that you want me to explain more on. I'm happy to do it. We will definitely be revisiting more Canva tips in the future. But for now, guys, try at least to play around with Canva with some of the tips that I showed you today. Make a tiny bit of a kit, even if it's a free account like I was showing you. Come up with the colors and fonts that feel right to you and get started with it, and it will grow from there, and I promise you that. Next week, we're going back into the hair side of things. I'm gonna be dipping back into some techniques, so make sure you check back for that, and I will see you guys all next week. Take care.